Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik and this is a game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition. This is my play-by-email match against ASUROB. He's the Allied commander and for me it is the Empire of Japan. Now it's December 12th, 42. So 1 year and 1 week into the war. My carriers are finally trying to be in attack position today to strike back against the Allied invasion of the northern Japanese island chain. First I clean some mines at Townsville, that is fine. Allied submarines here, but deep water. My convoy can pass. Port of Townsville looks clean again. And now we have a daytime engagement here north of Japan. More or less it's the Japanese battleship fleet against the American battleship fleet, more or less. So Nagato and Mutsu, both the best Japanese battleships I have, 16-inch. And for the Americans there's a bunch of battleships. Some have 14-inch, some have 16-inch. And I think at least one British battleship is also here. So the enemy have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 battleships. So he outclassed me, and with all of these heavy cruisers, 3-1. Let's see how Mutsu and Nagato can hold against this threat. Normally 14-inch cannot penetrate the deck or the belt armor, so I must only worry about the 16-inch and 15-inch from the British. But dozens of 14-inch shells will still create a lot of fire and system damage. There was an 8-inch but non-penetration hit. Next, not penetration hit. 8-inch, one more. But I would still guess that 1 8-inch shell could create 1 system damage. So after 80 shell hits, every battleship will simply go down with this kind of system damage. Anti-aircraft cruiser. Second anti-aircraft cruiser. $10,000 yards. Normally already very close for battleship engagement, but in this game maybe more typical. Main job of the destroyers is taking care of this incoming torpedoes. There's a hit on San Francisco, but I think it was only the 14 centimeter, 5.5 inch, so only some system damage. There was a more critical hit. And that was a 40 centimeter or 16-inch hit on Louisville. Next 5.5 hit on the French cruiser. $9,000. And here's Revanche, 15-inch, and penetrates the belt armor from Butsu. North Carolina also get a hit. Okay. But it looks very focused on Mutsu. For some reason, Nagato is not really taking care of this battle so far. Oh, that was a 16-inch shell hit, penetrate Mutsu's belt armor. Eight-inch, no chance. Again, no penetration. Hit on a destroyer, but nothing really critical happened. And Nagato. And Nagato scored the first big 16-inch hit on North Carolina. Butsu is now on heavy fire already. Looks like, at least. There was a 16-inch shell hit, but no citadel hit, so only the surface system damage, fire. Maybe it's bad weather, because the ratio of hits are a little small. I mean, Mutsu taking here a beating, but I guess that Mutsu is already very slow, low maneuver values, and still cannot avoid the shelling of the enemies. But Nagato and Mutsu are very tough built. So the Japanese battleships, Nagato and Mutsu, don't have the belt armor like the British, but they have much more durability. So they can take a beating, but the problem is really if you have simply no maneuver values more, your ship is so slow that the enemy will score too many hits, and then the high durability is also no more really useful. This was only heavy flak hit. Hit on Nagato. more of the 8-inch hits. Oh, there's the first of my destroyers also burning. So the Japanese trying to escape. I guess that Mutsu is at the edge what is possible to handle on damage. This was only a 14 centimeter hit. There was a 14-inch shell hit. The problem is the range. If you cut closer, the shells have simply more penetration power. So in this case, 14-inch. And of course, sometimes it's luck. I guess there's also some chance check if it was successful penetration or not. So my destroyer is taking more damage, but yeah, the enemy has 3 times more firepower. So, and this is simply, yeah, the allies are in a better position here. Next destroyer is burning. There was a hit, no penetration. No chance. Nearly every Japanese ship is now smoking. No penetration, 16-inch hit. There was a structure hit on the 16-inch on Mutsu, but no citadel hit. Okay, 5-inch shell hit on New Orleans, this will not really do too much damage. $19,000. No penetration hit on Orange. Deck armor, no penetration. And this was a 16 shell hit on New Carolina. North Carolina, yeah. Structure hit. Some 5-inch. $21,000, nearly escaped. 14-inch, no penetration. A heavy shell hit on Maryland. Deck armor hit, no penetration. And there was a 16-inch shell hit, cannot penetrate the belt armor from Colorado. 14-inch, but only structural damage. No penetration, 16-inch. But there's a 16 hit with penetration on Nagato. But again, the shell from Nagato cannot penetrate Colorado's belt armor. So, yeah. The Allies are coming closer and closer again. I was nearly escaping with my fleet. All structural hits, no penetration of Citadel. But the system damage on fire Mutsu must be now terrible. Ooh, coming closer and closer. Again, no penetration. Sixteen hit. System damage, structural damage. Okay, now I have only 2 destroyers not burning. No penetration. More system damage. Oh, belt hit on Colorado. Naja. Japanese try to escape. A lot of 5-inch shell hits on Mutsu once again. And there was a 14-inch and the second 14-inch. Both penetrated the Citadel and some more structural damage and one more Citadel hit. So Mutsu just took 5 heavy shell hits, 3 with penetration of Citadel. Ooh, hit on an allied destroyer now. And the second destroyer is hit. And Mutsu is going down. In honor and with fire and blood. Was a little outgunned, I would say. The Allied completely focused, I think 60-70% of the heavy shells all go for Mutsu. So that was a little overkill. And I think Maybe a Yamato battleship could take this kind of damage, but I would say maybe even for that kind of ship it's hard to handle. But better blowing up here and sinking in battle and not stay in the port and then have a turret explosion and or magazine explosion and be lost. Now it's on Nagato to escape or to take down some allied ships there. A little surprising for me is that no destroyer is lost so far. So it's really only the battleships are tanking it out. Again, 14-inch, no penetration. And we are now at 30,000 yards. And the battle is over. So Mutsu took 72 shell hits and far too many heavy shell hits. On top, many of them was penetrating the belt armor or the deck armor. I have here also one destroyer is heavily damaged and however burning out, so I would say one battleship is lost and one destroyer is lost. For the Allies, it's only North Carolina is on heavy fires, and the rest is relative acceptable. So this is a victory for the Allies, that for sure. I was not expecting here so many battleships. I can only say that I have my docks nearby, so all Allied damage is impossible to really fix here. There's no shipyard or any heavy big port nearby, so let's see. First I must try to escape. That is my that was my heavy cover force and this is my light cover force. So this is now more or less a heavy cruiser with some support equipment. Unluckily my heavy cruiser gets immediately a shell hit and is a little outgunned here. I can only hope that most of the Allied battleships are low on shells now. And I have still torpedoes here. So maybe I can get a torpedo hit on the enemy. So these are my anti-aircraft cruisers. All of these have normally no firepower to penetrate any belt armor here. Only for the destroyers, of course. But I can hope for a torpedo strike. And I can still, and here is the torpedo hit, unluckily on a destroyer. But case went down. So this is now a victory for me. An official, it's now 1-1. I lost the battleship, the others lost the destroyer. Unluckily there was an 8-inch shell hit with penetration. This is my pre-dreadnought. I have some of them, but they have limited use. But for defense, I think they are acceptable. Yeah, my 8-inch cannot penetrate Colorado's belt armor. This is not possible. Belt hit, but no penetration. Atlanta is so powerful. Yeah. Good, the Japanese say it's enough. Better break. That was really only more or less a task force to stop Allied invasion and to lure enemy airstrikes. Not so much really to take on enemy battleships. I score here some hits, but no penetration. Yeah. Some long range torpedo strikes, 21,000 I think is the maximum range. One more hit on West Virginia. Maryland get a hit, but all no penetration. At least I try to bring as many shells as possible on the enemy side. Oh, there was a 16-inch shell hit on my heavy cruiser. So there's still some heavy shells left. Luckily I have only fire and no heavy damage, so I can hope that it will not burn out the cruiser. Again, I think an enemy destroyer official we have a 1-to-1 ratio now on lost ships. This is now my local minesweeper, so that is no more task force to really fight. And I guess this is a bombardment task force. But we see no bombardment first. So Navy search. Detecting here the Allied fleet units and of course the Allied detecting my own. Enemy cap is destroyed. Not cap, but Navy search. So this is my long range attempt from last turn to weaken the enemy cap because I saw there was 40-60 aircraft here in this base fighter. So I have to go this way to burn through my nearly ready pilots for this kind of battle. That was not so successful because this was only a smaller sub-wing, and there you can see there are tons of enemy fighters. And this is now a land-based strike from Hokkaido. Torpedo bomber strike against enemy battlefield. There was hit, but I think no penetration. Both torpedoes don't penetrate the belt armor. Still create some damage. That was penetration. An engine hit. So 3 torpedo hits, but only one really with meaningful damage. But yeah, again, the damage ships for the allies are hard to repair. Hit but no explosion, penetration, flooding. There's anti-aircraft cruiser damage now. But flag is strong. Good. 2 working torpedo hits. Still no heavy damage, but this will always reduce the speed of the ships and make it much easier to take them out next time. But more torpedo bombers are coming. I prepared what was possible. No penetration. So no real damage. Attacks in China. Allied airstrikes on Kutek. Sooner or later I must maybe set up some cap units in. And here is my carrier strike 1. So you can see heavy escort because there are too many enemy cap fighters nearby. But my escort can shield completely the strike aircraft. And here some light cruisers. So this is the other task force. Some cargo convoy. Perth is heavily damaged already. Some AP. The strikes you can see they're often breaking up very small, not 4 or 5 or 6 something together. So I have here now many incoming strike groups. Achilles get a hit, fine. Radar is destroyed, always good. Torpedo, launcher is destroyed. Was okay, could be better, but yeah. Outgoing, I lose some of my torpedo bombers. This is unlucky, but yeah. So Perth is more or less a lost ship. Santiago is heavy fire. Achilles is 2 torpedo hits, but looks like both was only or non-critical. A lot of cargo ships getting destroyed, not really a lot of troops on board. Yeah. Support equipment getting destroyed. And here is now my strike against the enemy battleship fleet. 250 kilogram will normally not penetrate. There's a hit on Maryland. A second on Revanche, get a hit but not penetration. Some non-penetration hit in West Virginia. A hit but no explosion. Penetration hit in Revanche. No penetration. That armor deck is not thick enough. Both are penetration. Some surface damage hit here on Colorado. Critical hit on Colorado, fine. Flooding, critical hit, engine hit, war hits. I think Orange looks now very dead in the water. Again, the next raider destroyed. Hit by no penetration, but the second torpedo is a penetration with flooding. There was also a penetration, but nothing special, so a normal hit. These two bombs don't penetrate the deck at the end. But Maryland is now heavily damaged, Colorado is heavily damaged. West Virginia is maybe still okay, but heavily damaged means only some damage is over 50. Revanche is, I would say, after 6 torpedo hits, more or less dead. Chicago can escape every hit. North Carolina is lost. And some other of the cruisers are also heavily damaged. So now you can count up that maybe up to 4 or 5 enemy battleships are lost here. For so far, only 1 Japanese battleship. This is a big sweep wing now. That was really only an attempt to lower enemy cap, not that I run here completely into this very strong cap. So that was better, but still not good. And that was a morning. Ships are going down on the Allied side. Now the Emily's going for a strike, but they only have bombs so far, I know. A little more damage on Maryland. West Virginia, get some equipment destroyed. Naja, maybe it will start some fire. All of these 4 battleships are normal, even if they can survive. How far away you are from Pearl Harbor here. Next, air group. China bombardment. I had the Emily's, I think, in another base where I had not HQ support, but I want to use them more or less for long-range Navy search, and there was only one secondary Navy strike mission, so that was, I think, the reason why I had no torpedoes for them ready. This battle north of Japan was simply a little too early for me to be prepared for this kind of operation. Good afternoon strike. Not more many strike aircraft here, but every strong air escort again. And I can again shield all my dive bombers. So I can take some good hits against this lighter APs and light cruisers, anti-aircraft cruisers. Santiago looks now a terrible bet. Many hits on Achilles. Morris is also damaged and breaking up. So, yeah. Achilles is maybe still fine, but also maybe not more combat ready. The next big strike air wing and no air cover. So the battleship fleet still must handle this kind of damage. And more torpedoes with magazine explosion. No explosion. Now Chicago. The first air wing was completely avoiding or was not able to hit Chicago, but now a torpedo hit. The ships are dead in the water. Both no penetration. West Virginia get the next hit. Oh, now Chicago is also, I would say, off the table. Vincent's, New Orleans, San Francisco, California is dead in the water. So there went 4 battleships and 1 heavy cruiser. And North Carolina is, I think, also dead, but not sunk. Colorado went down, Revanche, Maryland California. West Virginia is dead. North Carolina is dead. The cruisers are more or less damaged, but maybe can escape. But there's more coming. A little more. Yeah. This last air group was not so successful. Here are Cobras trying to attack Townsville. Force back. And that was the last air action today here. More allied ships are sinking. And I don't know, this is a destroyer rate I use. So 4 destroyers taking on what is left from the allied battleship fleet, of elite partly. The question is now what my destroyers can really do against this enemy fleet if I don't score some torpedo hit. And so far the torpedoes are going all for the destroyer. Now my destroyers can focus on the enemy heavy ships, but of course I get no penetration hit here. I can at least start here always more fires and destroy the radar. Yeah, 10 centimeter or 4 inch will do nearly nothing here, but again fire and maybe some system damage. Someone is still alive in North Carolina and hit my flag destroyer. Stupid. And the enemy destroyer is still alive after so many hits. Crazy. And he did this job. This one destroyer more or less shield all the other ships against the torpedo attacks so far. I hope I have some torpedoes left to now launch against the enemy capital ships. $5,000. $3,000. And out of 3,000 with that ship so slow, 1, 2, 3 torpedo hits in one strike. So North Carolina is also dead. And there's a French light cruiser going down. Yeah, 25mm will not penetrate anything. Any torpedoes left? If not, maybe it's time to disengage. Okay. A little more system damage, a little more fire damage, but both of these ships are completely burned out already. Oh, so last man standing. Well, it's time to go. The next battleship and cruisers are going down, so yeah. And this is a smaller second radar group I had to send in. They're taking on the enemy, what is left over. But this unit is a little faster, or better. I don't know exactly what is this group for. I don't know more. This is my... Anyway, that is now the main body of the enemy battleship fleet. There's at least West Virginia still afloat. And my poor destroyer get here beating. Torpedo strike but no hit. My escort ship. Ooh. Maybe I will lose this last battle. The Japanese commander say it's enough. Makes no sense. Enemy is still too strong. Ooh, there's a magazine explosion. Nice hit on a Clark. But enemy is returning the favor. Belt armor hit, but no penetration, okay. Deck armor hit, no penetration. Yeah. Yeah. Good. This last engagement was not really in my favor, but I would say I lose here maybe one of my escorts. It's a good escort, but it's only an escort. West Virginia is crippled, Chicago is crippled, and they maybe are strong enough to fight against this very light task forces. But if I get here one heavy cruiser in, then I think they can. Good. Heavy cruiser will not penetrate the belt armor of Virginia, but my Air Force can do this maybe next time. And there was an attack on my Tinker, but we are here in shallow water. 2 hits. More allied ships are going down, but not Japanese so far. So I think the counter is still Mutsu's lost and nothing else. Bombardment. Bombardment. I try to take here the base. I can reduce the fort. But then I still hold. But there's not more much left. And this is the last dot base here. That is lost. But for some reason most of the guys are still very British, running away and don't want to surrender. Okay. Then run away again. Bombardment here, source of Bundeberg. Bombardment. And that was the turn. So there was now everything in this battle, I mean more or less. Heavy surface navy engagements with different kind of task forces. Victory for the allies at the beginning, then the airstrikes are turning the table, and then the smaller Japanese task forces achieving a victory against battleship groups. Overall, I would say that was a turn with a lot of fire and burning steel, that for sure. Good, first air losses are high on my side because attacking allied capital ships is always painful for strike aircraft. So my numbers are always true. 136 aircraft lost, mostly torpedo bombers against intercepted or flak damage. The M5s are shielding my strike aircraft and did a good job, but then the COs are going down. The M2s trying to soften up the enemy cap. At the end it was not necessary. And a lot of Bettys getting destroyed by flak. You can see that they're simply long-range torpedo bombers. Even if there's no enemy cap, you still lose a lot of them. Same for Emily's, but they're a little more tough. And I lost also 3 Jakes on Mutsu, went down with the ship. And for the allies, it's mostly only cap aircraft or search aircraft on ships, I would say. But at the end, more important is Japan. I really lost. Okay, Mutsu went down to my local minesweepers, and this is all. And you can see here, only to compare, the ability of Mutsu is 156 hit points or whatever you count it, with a belt armor of 300. And if I compare this now to the lost from yesterday, North Carolina is more or less opposite of Mutsu. Both are 16-inch. Same belt armor, but a little less durability. Price of the ship is also a little cheaper. Good. But you can also see here that the anti-aircraft firepower is over 2000. That is so much better than what Japanese have. The other Colorado Battleship plus North Carolina. Ah, that is the North Carolina. Oh, yeah, now I realize. That is a fast battleship, like Mutsu. And Colorado is the older 16-inch. Normally you must compare this one with Mutsu because that is the same age. Of course, Mutsu get a better upgrade maybe later. But here you can see that the durability is much lower, but the belt armor is thicker. And the anti-aircraft is a little more standard for this kind of ships. So Maryland is also Colorado class battleship, so this is 16-inch. So this means 16-inch, 16-inch, 16-inch. 3 16-inch battleships lost at least today. Revanche is a 15-inch, but this is a Royal Sovereign class battleship. This is a standard battleship. So plus other equipment getting destroyed. But at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's one missing. 6 battleships plus other equipment lost here today. The ratio of ships, even if this is fog of war, is now roughly speaking 7,000 to 1,500. Yeah. You could also say that the ratio of Navy lost points is very similar to what is air lost points. What a surprise. But you can also say here that my army lost points is 17,000 to 1,500. So yeah, I would still say that is a victory for me, even if I lost Mutsu. So now I can check what is damage left behind. I mean, I can only see my own side. That was unloading. And I have import, left behind, burning, Iwaki. Iwaki was the unlucky guy who took the 4 or 500 pound bombs all with penetration, and it's burning, and I think the cruiser is more or less lost. I cannot get it under control. This destroyer can maybe still survive, and the rest is more or less fine intact. Nagato took some beating, consumed all their shells, but nothing left. But I would say, yeah, there's damage, but nothing critical. If I can reach a bigger port, I can fix the damage. So Iwaki was normally a lost ship from the turn before, not from this turn. So not from... So far, I only lost really one battleship today. Here's the other light cruiser formation. They run away, left the cruiser, I think, back at port. All fine, nothing lost here. And this is this here Cairn pre-dreadnought setup. So they, but they have only 12 centimeter guns. So they are officer patrol ships and not much more. They have 100mm belt armor and 125mm deck armor, so they can tank a lot of incoming dive bombers, but nothing really more. They can take on destroyers, but not the best ship, but I had the ship ready here to use, and then I use them. This is also destroyer group, all is fine, some 5-inch shell, but no real damage. This looks all fine, so no ships under threat to lose. That is my escort ship. It was taking too many shells for this small ship at all, and that is a lost ship. Okay, fine, then go down. My destroyer is on fire and system damage, but if I can reach the port, and then I can maybe get the fire out. So the question is only if I go west or east. So escort and the battleship lost so far. That is no loss, and this is no lost. So that is all what I lost today. The escort, two local minesweepers, and Mutsu. I don't really have much surface firepower left on my own. That is also true. A bunch of destroyers, and the destroyers would do now the job because the enemy is already very slow. I cannot use Nagato, I have no shells for her, but I have at least one heavy cruiser, not fully stocked and no torpedoes, but it's maybe enough to wipe out the enemy or at least force them back or something like this. But the destroyers would normally do the job. I could now use a dozen destroyers and one heavy cruiser, and I would say that is maybe enough. There's still a lot of stuff here nearby, but I also have my carrier. I am now down to 500 aircraft from, I think, maximum 600 something. Still, I could run maybe, even though morale is not so bad in the fatigue. My zeros have a high fatigue because they are shielding the enemy. Morale is, yeah, more or less still okay. I would say most of them will fly. I have, I guess, no torpedoes left. Yeah, empty. More or less empty. It doesn't. So 30-40 torpedoes maybe left in total, but then I can use still 250 kilogram bombs, and most of the battleships are already destroyed. All other ships can at least take system damage and fire from 250 kilogram bombs. So I would say whatever is here will be destroyed or forced to return. I really don't know what is left. The enemy fighter force is also very depleted, I would say. So there's nothing here where Rob could run and hide, I would say. My long range sweep guys, this guys, they had 81 aircraft I think yesterday. I lost here a lot of aircraft of course today. This kind of long range sweep was terrible. You can see how many missing in action and killed in action pilots. But they still did the job to lower the enemy cap. And if it's not yesterday, then it's today. The machine, what is damaged on the ground, cannot fight tomorrow or today. I have still the other wing here. I could run the next super long range strike. My Emilys are still here. Also can strike out. So you can see I have them at 20% Navy search and the rest is Navy attack. And yeah, because I made the mistake, I forgot this is a 4-star, not a 5-star Army HQ. But I realized it too late, and then I saw, oh shit, this is the wrong HQ. Because it's an Army HQ, not a Command HQ. Or I could use the torpedoes. So my torpedo bombers are running from Japan, I guess. Yeah, here I have my HQ with torpedoes. The Betty's got a beating, and I lost here many pilots. But again, now the enemy flag is much weaker, and I would say I can run again. I have a range of 17, so I could go up to here. So if there's a crippled ship, I could also use maybe torpedo bombers to kill them. So there's a potential. And on top I have here also, if this all will fail, I have good, I need some more time to get my 2 battleships ready here. But Fuso and Yamashiro is also coming, just finished the upgrade. And yeah. Anyway, I would say with this battle and the information you got and the overall situation, I can now tell you that Rob say he more or less give up. He already had a hard time before because he wasn't able to break my defense line more or less. He was always close in let's say in India. I had some hard time. He was partly successful here, but he never really overrun me. that I must say. He took back Fiji, but then he stops. He never tried to attack here Nomaya and the rest of my forces, and I was always low on supplies and still have issues with supplies because I tried too much at the same time. But it was a test for me to really push everything to the limit. And at the end, his carriers was, I guess, low on aircraft because he lost too many aircraft to cripple my fleet here, and I let him more or less do this. I took down too many of his fighters and strike aircraft, so he had to maybe return to Pearl Harbor, or he could engage my carrier fleet. If we had here now a carrier battle, then we would have the carrier battle and his battle fleet will maybe survive, maybe not, we don't know. But now it's this, that his battleship fleet is completely wiped out of the map. If I check again for sunk ship, overall, not all dates, yeah. And if I go battleships only, then this is now the reported lost ships for battleships. If I compare this with Japan, I have really only lost Mutsu. Battleships are only battleships and don't care them too much, but this is really a tonnage question now. Carrier-wise, it's still this not really a complete blowout for the Allies, because but Japan lost so far only a light carrier, so it's not really a win for the Allies. And if we only care about heavy cruisers, okay, I must add one more heavy cruiser will burn out completely now. Allies lost a bunch of heavy and light cruisers, 2 dozens. And for me it was really only these 2 light cruisers and 1 more heavy cruiser is lost for sure, so it's also a victory. Overall there's a lot of stuff lost for all the Allies. And maybe one more last check on the killed aircraft forever. In total, both sides together over-reported lost 8,885 aircraft. And my numbers are true, so you can see you must deduct your 1,000 aircraft, so not 7,500, 6,500 left. And yeah. I would say it was okay. It was for me a game really to test what is possible, because it's also AR mod, so Japan have maybe more equipment but have even more issues with supply lines. And if I would play this game again, I would say you must really go for India or for Australia. If you try to do both, it's I think too much for the industry what Japan can afford and supply. Yeah, I think I don't have really much more to add. We will see. I think Rob is also now on vacation or something like this. But he say he won't drop first of all. I wait 1 month, maybe he have shift in heart and want to come back and try, because battleships are only battleships. But it's of course not easy for him to do anything here. And we will see what else I can do in the future. Good, take care. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.